How do you build a YouTube channel that actually makes you money, converts, and gets subscribers in 2024? In today's episode of As It Relates to Podcasting, I am joined for part one of a four-part series with my now friend, Jamar Diggs. He's an incredible YouTube strategist helping entrepreneurs and podcasters leverage their YouTube channels to bring them money back into their businesses. In today's episode, we're talking about understanding YouTube's ecosystem and building a channel specifically from scratch. And he's going to be sharing what he would do if he were to start today. He also talks about the importance of selecting your niche and understanding what that niche market is, especially on YouTube, and then how to target your audience in a really significant way. He also leaves his tips for creating a really compelling channel name and your branding around your channel, and a very quick overview of the type of content that works really well on YouTube. Before we get into our conversation, let me introduce you to Jamar. He's a YouTube marketing strategist for businesses who want to leverage YouTube to create a low lift marketing strategy so they can make marketing only 10% of their focus. He takes his corporate marketing experience from working in large marketing departments like homes.com and forint.com to help his clients create a content strategy and marketing system that will generate results for years. I really loved his energy. You're going to love this conversation. It feels just so fun and just so effortless. And I'm so grateful that he joined us on this series today. So without further ado, be sure to hit that follow button so you don't miss parts 2, 3, and 4. Share this with another creator as you're listening that you know might need to hear it. And I am so looking forward to diving in. So let's get into it. Jamar, welcome to As It Relates to Podcasting. We are getting set with our very first episode together, and I could not be more excited to have you here and to have all of your expertise here and to just get to talk to you. I feel like I can talk to you for hours already. So welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I feel like this is going to be a whole vibe.
It's a whole vibe.
It's going to be a whole vibe.
It's a whole vibe. It's a whole vibe. It's that emoji. It's that star emoji, the main star with the 2 stars beside it. It's the star emoji.
Oh, yes, yes. Oh, yes, yes. I'm so here for it.
I love this. So I've already introduced you to the podcast. Today, we are doing part one of our 4-part series together, and we're diving into all things YouTube, which is really exciting. We actually have never I've talked about YouTube from my own perspective on the podcast, but we've never actually done a 4-part series in the year and a half that the podcast has been running on YouTube. So I'm really excited to get your insights. Let's start today. Our first episode is understanding like YouTube's ecosystem and the intricacies that go behind building a channel. But first, before we do that, can you give me a little bit of a background on like why YouTube and like what you love about the platform?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I started my YouTube channel, I believe, in like 2017. Didn't know
Wow.
what the hell I was doing. I just knew that it was the easiest way for me to build my brand, build my personal brand, because I was a side hustler, like, right? So I worked for homes.com and forint.com as a social media specialist. And it was like back in the day, it was very much so like quantity over quality. And so
Mm,
it was a lot of educating real estate agents. Like I was managing over 250 real estate agent social media accounts back then.
that's
And
nuts.
oh my gosh, it was bananas. And it was so hard to teach them because back then, the service was more so just posting to stay relevant for
Right.
them. So right. And so it was a lot of education of saying, hey, this content is just keeping you active. You have to start like adding in personality and stuff because we were posting like better homes and gardens. Like I said, back in the day, it was quantity over quality, okay?
Uh-huh.
And I am not proud of it, but let me tell you, I was so not proud of it that I took it upon myself in the corporation to say, we need to analyze these goddamn posts because I'm now the social media analyst and I made like pivot tables and charts and things to show which which piece of content was crappy, which ones did well.
Oh my God. Okay, but do you know what's so funny about my mind instantly goes to like, do you remember back in the day with social media where you would take a picture of like the sidewalk and some grass and you'd be like,
Yes. It was that vibe. It
oh
was
my
like that. It was like that. Like there's a point in time where they made us go around our neighborhoods and take pictures of houses so that we could add it to our
God.
collection of photos.
Like
Okay, let me
so illegal,
stop.
so illegal, so illegal. Could you imagine doing that today? Like walking through your town and like click, like people would be like, people would be like, what are you doing outside of my house? Like, oh my God. As soon as someone comes up onto my driveway, I'm like, who is
Get
this?
out of here. Can you
Anyways, I
imagine
digress.
you see like walking down sidewalks trying to get pictures of like trees with like sides of houses and
Oh
like trying to
God.
just figure out because we needed to make content. Anyway, so I did that
Oh,
and it was very hard to really get them on board with that. And so I really needed an outlet. I really felt like I needed to like serve someone really well.
yeah.
Right. And I didn't really get that inside the company. Great company, but like, it is what it is. And so
Good
I
for them,
built
but no
my
thanks. I'm just kidding.
good for them, but
See you later.
and so I had ended up starting my business and I started as a social media manager, just like managing like a hairstylist, some authors and all this other and
Ooh.
like a toy store. And it was so great, right? And I was still marketing myself, but it wasn't until 2017 that I decided that I wanted to go into more like consulting and more like coaching and consulting because at that time I thought coaches have it better because they don't have to be managing people's accounts for $100 a month. Little did I know that was my problem. I'm over here charging peanuts, being burnt
250.
out.
I'm just thinking to myself, like literally 250 like accounts. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, max you probably got paid for that was like $30,000 a year. Like max, max, max.
Oh, let me tell you my salary. Oh my
Oh,
God, no,
please,
I
please.
haven't told anyone this. My salary, you were spot on. It was $29,999.99. That was my salary
I
coming
mean,
out.
literally, Spirit was trying to communicate to you with the 9999 that you need to do something about this.
Yes, I was like, wow, what in the world?
That's
But yeah,
ooh,
so fast forward, like as I'm going into this new era of my business, wanting to really like coach people and things, I knew that I really wanted to propel my personal brand, right? And
mm,
so I was doing more video marketing. I was doing more YouTube videos, right? I was doing more with video. I knew video was my thing. Video was my strength because I didn't like to write and I love to talk and I also love to like I always wanted to be like I wanted to be like a little TV host or whatever, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And
yeah.
so I knew that was my strength, so I really dug into there. Didn't really know what I was doing doing, but I was starting to build my stuff. I started to get like clients that like starting to book social media sessions and things like that. It wasn't until March of 2020 that really I started like figuring out the strategy, right?
Mhm.
And I had decided to go full time in my business because I was with homes.com for about 2 years, but then I went to go work for Atlantic Bay Mortgage Group to do their like mortgage marketing. And I
Mm.
was a digital marketing strategist. I was there for about 5 years. And I had decided to go full time in my business after that, right? But when I was there, I was also tinkering around with YouTube. I made their YouTube channel. I was like really like the host of their YouTube channel, and they would put ads behind my videos, and it would also generate the right type of audience that they wanted to bring in and help
Mm.
them generate leads. So I was like, this is working. This is so great. I really enjoy doing it. So like I started being like this like social search expert in the company, right? And it was so cool. But when I left the company and started going solo in my business full time, that was when I started getting people opting into my lead magnets, getting my tripwire, and then emailing me a day later saying, hey, I think I'm ready for coaching. And I was like, oh, this is magic. What in the world? And so
Yeah.
I eventually, over time, started to say, you know what, I want to teach other people how to make this like amazing magic happen. Because before I was talking about Instagram and content and stuff. But I was getting my clients through YouTube and through search. And so it was just so funny that I didn't start as like this YouTube expert. I kind
Right.
of like leaned into it more because I kind of found how to use it for business. Like I was doing all of this stuff for business. Like I tried doing the whole content creator and
Yeah.
things like that. And it wasn't as accelerated as when I started focusing on getting clients with my YouTube channel.
I love that. I relate to that a lot because I feel like when I first started in my own journey, I started with Happiness Happens, which is my other podcast. I started with that podcast first and I just was creating from a place just to create, right? And then people just started asking me like how did you launch your podcast? Like how did you do that? And eventually when people ask you so many times, you're like, okay, well, there must be something here. Like, is there something that I should be doing more of? And I feel like the production business just kind of landed in my hands. And so I feel like those are the coolest stories because it's like, you take something that people are already asking you for and you're just delivering on that. And so from the past and from when you started your YouTube channel to the way that YouTube channel is today, how would you say that YouTube as a platform has changed either a lot or a little, not at all? What's like the current pulse check on the ecosystem?
Yeah, I think when it comes to business, it's very consistent, is
Mm,
probably the word. It's like it's really consistent because you want to be found by people who are searching for help, basically, right? And like people search for understanding, they don't just search for DIY or to do, right?
right.
That's a frequently
Pinterest.
asked question that I always get to where they're like, "Oh, but YouTube is just for people that just want to do it themselves." And that's not true. Sometimes people they search for understanding to really understand the level in which they need the help, right?
Yeah,
And so
true.
people are searching. It's a search engine essentially. I mean, that's exactly what it is. And so when you look at it that way, there's some enhancements that YouTube has made to make it even more search friendly and I've been calling 2024 the year of the for you for YouTube because we all know like TikTok and TikTok has started this whole for you like era type of like
Oh,
thing,
yeah.
right? And so obviously this has spread across other platforms and YouTube is one of those things. And so over time your home feed, your homepage, like when you log into YouTube, used to just be like people that you have subscribed to,
Hmm.
right? That's about it. Where now, because of search and them analyzing these habits, they're able to really curate your home feed with content that they think you would like, right? And it can be from a past search that you made, right? And so
Mm,
we're in a world to where you don't even, as long as your videos are optimized correctly and you're checking off all those boxes, sometimes people don't even have to search and then see your video in the top 3 spot anymore because
mm.
there's other chances for you to be exposed based upon how YouTube is really trying to lean into what I call the year of the for you. They're
That is
really trying
really
to
cool.
expand their visibility.
I love that. I love that. And also too, I've noticed that on my own feed of just think like, people that I don't follow, but content that I search. And it's that like that relevant content. And it's like, oh, you like this? Here's more of this, which I think is really cool. And so if you were starting a YouTube channel today, or the clients that you work with starting a channel today, what are some of the like the top three things that you would do right off the bat? Because here, and I'll preface this with our next two episodes as well, are going to be about like our second episode is about content creation and optimizing your channel. So things like SEO and titles and tags, like all that kind of stuff. Our third episode is going to be about audience growth and engagement. And then we're talking about how to use YouTube for your business and bring, attract people back into your world. So
Mhm.
when you're starting up a channel, like you got to start somewhere, right? Obviously, like, you create an account, but then what? Like, what do you need in order to optimize it in the right way so that the next few steps afterwards are maximized, I guess, into their fullest potential?
Yeah, I would say being super clear in who you want to attract, like being very clear in your intentions for the channel, right? And so I talk about this a lot with my clients because like well, really not my clients, really on sales calls, to where we need to really be very clear in what the expectation that you want to have on YouTube to be, right? And like and how do you want to use YouTube? Like, do you want to be the content creator, or do you really want to leverage it for business, right? So be very, very clear in that. But then, and then if you choose the business side, right, be clear in who you want to target. Who is that person? Like, who is that person that you want to target? And then making sure that you have a really good lead magnet. And because I think when you start out with that, when you listen to these other episodes, your ideas are going to start firing off.
Mm.
Right. So that's kind of where you start. Like, yes, you have a banner. Yes, you should be like, you're going to, you obviously need topics, right? But we're
Yeah.
going to talk about topics later on. But the topics are going to be focused on who your ideal customer, right? So being really clear in that, really mapping out who do you want to attract
Mm.
and what do they need to hear from you in order to be inspired to make an action happen. Having that kind of in the back of your head already is going to really prepare you to launch this channel correctly.
I love that. And so, okay, I'll ask you from my own perspective with my own YouTube channel. I
Mhm,
launched my YouTube channel. So I have two different ones. I have one for Happiness Happens, and then I have one for this podcast as well. When I
mhm,
launched the one for this podcast, at first I was like, I feel like these episodes are really, they are educational and there are how-tos in it. And I wanted creators to like kind of have this spot where they can just listen to 4 different episodes and know exactly what they need to do to get started if they wanted to start for free. You know what I mean? So,
mhm,
but they're not so much like how-to videos. I'm not taking you step by step. Like they're not, you know what I mean? It's like giving you the information and the insight, but they're not, how-tos. Then I thought to myself, okay, I want to also have a page for my agency, right? And
mhm.
under my agency, then do those how-tos, those tutorials and this and that, whatever. And this will fall a little bit more under content creation. But when it comes to starting up your channel, should I be starting up a whole brand new channel for the agency page because the intention of the page is different, but the audience is the same? You know what I mean? I feel like
Yeah.
there's all kinds of pages now. There's like a page for shorts, a page for longer videos, a page for this, a
Mhm.
page for agency. And it's just like, oh my God, like I don't want to manage 8 YouTube channels, but I will if I have to, you know?
I know. And this is where I'm so torn, but this is where I have to do my own self-discovery because I feel
Mm.
like everything that I have taught so far has been kind of not really, but like I think it's edgy. It's like different. It's like very,
Yeah.
very like contrary to what maybe other like YouTube content creator experts would probably say. And I started this whole thing saying to people, if the audience is the same, right, but the content that they're going to consume is different, it needs to be a different channel because
Mm.
it's a different show.
Right.
It's a different channel, right? We're kind of
Right.
it's kind of like, but then it's like if you look at it from like like your YouTube channel, right, to where it's like, oh well, different shows can be on a network, right, which is true, but but let's be real, this is a YouTube channel, right, and
Right.
so on like on a show you get to choose what you watch and what you don't watch, right, what you want to
Exactly.
be. You don't get that customization with YouTube. So the easiest way to make sure that the person that you're going to attract is going to really consume the content and get the action that you want to happen out of it. To me, the easiest way is to have separate channels, right? To have
Mm.
a channel for maybe the podcast and then a channel for the actual YouTube,
Agency.
sorry, your agency, right?
Yeah. But even the YouTube
Because
shorts,
yeah,
right?
even YouTube Shorts. Yeah, because there isn't, they're working on it, but there's so many, if you even look at, even if you were to do a Google search, there's so many other accounts saying that there's so much of an audience separation where
Mm.
these people only want to consume short form content. And so their long form videos are not getting the amount of views, the amount of engagement that they initially wanted to, right? And so that's kind of why I don't even have a short strategy right now. I don't even recommend it to my clients for real. Like I say, I tell them like, if you want to do it, then like, post a few things, if you want, and like link them to like your long form
Yeah.
video, but like we don't have to TikTok it up over here. You know what I'm saying? Because we ultimately want to bring in people who are problem aware, who are being exposed to us by some kind of like search or some type of like recommendation to help them go deeper and to solve a problem.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I love that. And I can't wait to dive into our next episode all about the actual content creation of this. And when you're listening to this podcast episode, if you're watching it on YouTube, just hit that subscribe and hit that follow so that you can make sure that you can come back for the next part of our conversation. I want to ask you too, in terms of just understanding YouTube's ecosystem and understanding how to build a channel, if you were to recommend like top 3 things for a creator, the first thing would be identifying your niche, right? Knowing who
Yes.
your niche is. And what would you say would those 2 things afterwards be when it comes to your channel setup?
Gosh, it would probably
You're
be,
like, only 2? No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, I'm like, man, I'm trying to,
You can get more than 2 if you want.
well, I'm thinking like getting set up is like really understanding your niche, being clear in the transformation you want someone to have, right?
Ooh.
Because every video is going to be this powerful marketing asset that's going to direct them to that call to action. I know these kind of all go together with like, what is your ideal client? So it's kind of like, to me, it's kind of like, it's all, there's so many sub things. But if I were just to add one, get a webcam or something, get a
Yeah.
webcam and a mic, you know what I'm saying? Like, do,
But
as long as they can hear you and
even with the sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but even with the ideal client piece, a lot of times I think people like hear that word, and first of all, the word ideal client is like so overused, and people just like eye roll at it because it's like, oh my God, I know. But it's like what's even more than that is what you were exactly just saying, like the transformation that you want them to have. How is it solving your problem? And I think that's the key piece when it comes to understanding your ideal client is ultimately whatever content you're putting out there is solving a problem of some kind. So it's like, what is the problem you're solving and who, right?
yes. Okay. So I know I'm not trying to make this episode too long, but
No.
this is the thing that you're so right. And this is why I always get the eye rolls whenever they're like, my idol client, I know who I'm trying to sell to, right? They kind of say that, but here's what happens. They end up falling into this content creator trap
Hmm.
without even knowing it, right? There's so many amazing channels that I follow, and they end up making out of alignment videos just to get more views. And I'm like, that's not the point of the channel. Yes, you could do a how-to screen share on how to do this basic thing that has nothing to do with you or your business and get some views for it. But what do those views do? Like they
Right.
start trying to get caught up in being monetized, right? For the AdSense. But then they're sacrificing the quality traffic that they could be getting for people
Mm-hmm.
that would want to give them $2,000, $5,000, whatever their offer is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so being so clear in that makes so much of a difference, because this is what I do. And yes, I have been conditioned by being in marketing for over 10 years and things like that, and working for like large marketing departments and stuff. But let's be real, people listening to this podcast, they don't have that luxury. That is a luxury for real, but they don't have they don't have that gift or that skill set. So me telling you that you have to know who you are talking about, and you have to understand their behaviors, understand their characteristics, what they think about, what keeps them up at night, because it's going to make it so much easier. I'm able to talk to my clients and ask them a series of questions, and they look at me confused because it looks like I am the damn expert in what they do, because I am asking questions. I'm reading their clients' minds as if I know exactly who they are, as if I am already in the specialty when I'm not. But it's because I can easily put myself in someone's shoes and
Yeah,
really understand their concepts. But that takes practice.
exactly.
That I can, right? Other business owners don't have that. And so you have to take the time to dig into the psychographics and the character, the buying habits, right? You have to listen to what they say on your sales calls, what they're telling you in the
Yeah.
DMs. What are they doing on their own when they ghost you, right? What was that? Because that was an objection that you just didn't know because you didn't ask the right questions.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it's just like all these other things that build up into your idle client profile that then you can turn into content, and your clients will feel like you're creating content just for them.
I love that. That is so beautiful. I think that's the perfect spot to end this episode, because all I want to ask you about right now is the content and what works best on YouTube for it, and like dive into that whole piece. But before we wrap up today, is there anything else that you feel like we should add? I know that you just added that whole beautiful piece right there. Is there anything else that you would want to say when it comes to just the building of a channel?
No, I think I hit,
I think you did
not
too.
to toot my own whole, like,
I
not to
think
toot
I got
my own horn,
it.
but beat bitches. But no, I think this is like a great way to set the stage, really understanding like the mindset that you have to be in, the expectations that you have to be in, and then like kind of just giving some really thought in who you want to target, so that you're not creating content just to create content.
I
And
love
that's not
that.
what we want. And I hate creating content without any purpose.
I
And
love
that's what
that.
I want to make sure. And I know our audience does too. So I want to make sure that we set a really good foundation so that we can move forward and have a more accelerated journey with YouTube than others.
I love that. Amazing. Amazing. Jamar, thank you so much for being here on today's episode. Thank you for joining us for this conversation today. If you love what you heard, please reach out. Let us know what you loved. Tag us on social media and leave a rating and a review of this episode. Be sure to check out all of Jamar's links in the notes below. And again, please reach out. I love to hear from you, and I love to know what resonated with you on this episode. And if you feel like it, share it with another creator that needs to know or needs to hear how to leverage YouTube for their podcast. I'll see you on the next one.